I live and work in Silicon Valley, and if you know anything about the Bay Area, you know it's one of the most expensive places to live in the entire country, which is why, like a lot of folks here, I have a day job in tech and a side hustle at night. For me, that meant delivering pizzas to make ends meet. It's not glamorous, but it helped cover rent. At least it did, until one night made me walk away from that job for good. That night it was unusually hot, the kind of heat that lingers in the air, long after the sun goes down. Orders were coming in non-stop. I just returned from a 5-pizza delivery run, exhausted and sweaty, ready to call it a night. It was after 10:30 p.m., but right as I was about to clock out, my manager stopped me, said we had one more order. The other driver had already gone home, and if I could take it, there would be a guaranteed tip, cash. I was tired, but broke, so I said yes. There was one issue. The delivery address was in East Palo Alto, and if you're not from around here, that part of town has a reputation. It's not the safest area, especially at night. Still, I needed the money, so I got back in my car and headed out. When I pulled onto the street, I noticed how quiet it was. Rows of parked cars lined both sides. The only street light nearby was flickering, barely working. Most houses had porch lights on, the soft glow of TVs flickering inside, but not the house I was headed to. That place was completely dark. I didn't have time to double-check the address on my phone. I thought I was at the right place, but it looked off, like the kind of place kids dare each other to run up to on Halloween. The yard was wild, overgrown with weeds. A massive tree leaned over the roof. The upstairs windows were pitch black, but something about them gave me the feeling I was being watched. It looked abandoned. I sat there for a second debating whether to even get out. My gut was telling me to leave, but I took a breath, grabbed the pizza, and stepped out of the car. The sidewalk was broken and uneven. I tripped over a chunk of cracked concrete. A tree branch hung low enough that I had to duck under it just to reach the porch. There was no doorbell, so I knocked. Loud, 3 times. Nothing. No light inside. No footsteps. Just silence. I waited, then knocked again, harder this time. Still nothing. Just as I was turning around to leave, I heard something on the other side of the door, like someone pressing against it, trying not to make a sound. Then came the faintest voice, like someone was mumbling through the crack, but I couldn't make out the words. I cleared my throat and said, "Pizza delivery." That's when I heard the lock click, slowly. The door creaked open a few inches, and standing there was an older man, maybe mid-60s, gray hair, big glasses. He didn't say anything, just stared at me. Nothing about him looked strange, at first, but the way he stood there, barely moving, not saying a word, it unsettled me. I held out the pizza box and told him, "Here's your order." He looked down at the box like he didn't expect it, didn't say a thing, just nodded once, then turned and walked back inside, out of view. The door almost closed behind him. I stood there, waiting for him to come back with money, but nothing happened. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear him speak. Nothing. It was like he just vanished behind the door. After a minute, I leaned in, trying to see through the gap. "Hello?" I called out. Still nothing. So against every instinct I had, I pushed the door open. The room was pitch black. No furniture, no lamps, nothing on the walls. The whole place looked abandoned, and yet I had just seen someone walk into it. I stood there, frozen. The silence inside felt heavy, strange, wrong, and that's when something deep in my chest screamed at me to leave. I backed away slowly, turned, and bolted for my car, ducking under that same low-hanging branch. I didn't look back, not once. When I got back to the restaurant, my boss was ticked. "Why didn't you call the number on the order? Maybe you had the wrong house." But honestly, I hadn't even thought about it. I was too freaked out. She picked up the phone and dialed the number herself, then paused. "It's not in service." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying what happened in my mind, trying to rationalize it. But the more I thought about it, the worse it felt. So the next day, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I Googled the address. First, I found it on Google Maps. Same street, same house, no mistake. Then I searched the name from the pizza order. What I found made my stomach drop. That house has been empty for years. The last person to live there was a man who was investigated in connection to a string of child disappearances in the 1980s. He was never charged, but not long after the cops started asking questions, he killed himself. In that house, police never found any hard evidence linking him to the missing kids, but everyone in the community assumed he did it. They say at least 3 children went missing near his home. I couldn't find a picture of him, but I can still see the face of the man who opened that door burned into my memory. That was my last night delivering pizza. I never went back to that job. I don't know what I saw in that house. Maybe it was a ghost, maybe it was something worse, but I'm certain that man isn't really gone. And he may have gotten away from the law, but there's no way he's at rest now, and he is still haunting that house. But I just hope the kids he disappeared found peace somewhere, and that they aren't still trapped in that house with him.